Now I'm about to start to make the panel for the firebox door. In fact, I've already cut out the piece of plywood, and the most important thing to talk about is this hole here. Remember, we've got the tail of the gas burner which will protrude out so that we can control the degree of heat that we're giving the unit. So this aperture is going to be determined by the burner that you buy. Okay? Now what I found is that by cutting this out first, I can then start to draw on the back and place my battens in position. But this is clearly an area which is variable dependent on the burner you've got. Now, let's just offer mine up and check that I've got it right. That's sitting flush against there. You can see we've got still the space there for the smoke food chamber door, and it's nicely cut around this guard here. Now you can't take this guard off the burner, that's very important, but we do want to ensure that this hole is big enough to allow for that guard. It's also big enough to allow a draft. We have to have a draft in the bottom, but we don't want it too large that if we get a gust of wind it's going to blow the burner out. So I think I've got that just about right. Quite pleased with that. Okay, that's the final screw into the panel for the door of the firebox. So you can see nicely now we've got our perimeter in place for the fireproof boarding. I've also put a couple of lengths here, just short lengths of batten, and that's so we can put a bolt on our door. So those pieces of batten are just there to give something for the screws for this bolt to bite into. Now, all that remains then is that we put our piece of fireproof boarding on, and then we will be ready to offer that up as a finished panel. So to complete the doors, we now need to put a smoke seal around them. Now for that we're going to use the loop side of a piece of velcro. Let me show you how it works. As an adhesive we're using just plain PVA, brushing that onto the rear side of the velcro loop, and then that will then be applied around the perimeter of the door. Just a thin film of PVA is being applied to the door as well. The trick here is just to make sure that it's more or less central. So in other words, we avoid any chance that the velcro loop is exposed internally or indeed externally. And then to finish off, once the loop is in position and we've done all sides, then we're going to place the door actually in its aperture so that the weight will help make the seal. Now we could have used a self-adhesive door sealer as the smoke seal. We've chosen not to do that quite simply because the adhesive on those self-adhesive sealers tends to be a little bit iffy, and we prefer to apply our own adhesive. Now whilst we're finishing off the doors, it's also an ideal opportunity to put the first coat of the varnish on. Nothing special, we've just used a standard outdoor varnish. Here's the finished door, which has got the velcro loop all around the perimeter. So in terms of fixing it so that everything sticks nicely, quite simply what we've done is turn the smoker onto its back so that the doors are on the top, and then we're just going to slot that nicely into position. A little bit of weight on top just to help gravity take effect, and then we'll leave that to dry.